afternoon and thanks for joining us. This is the World News at 12 on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. I am Solomon of First, our top stories. US suspends immigrant visa processing for Nigeria and 74 other countries. Federal government signs and unveils new agreement with ASUU. Dangote refinery rejects anti-competition claims, says no preferential treatment for MRS. NIS update passport tracking system amid public outcry over delay. Outside Nigeria, polls open in Uganda amid crackdown and fears of violence and internet blackout. And in sports, Morocco beats gallant Super Eagles on penalties to reach AFCON 2025 finals. Those are our top stories. Details coming up in just a moment. First on the news, the United States said Wednesday it was suspending the processing of immigrant visas from Nigeria and 74 countries, President Donald Trump's latest move against foreigners seeking to come to America. The United States has long rejected visas from people who appear likely to end up needing government welfare, but the State Department said it will now use the same authority for a blanket suspension of immigrant visas based on nationality. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt posted on X that the countries affected would include Somalia, whose people Trump has attacked in heated terms after immigrants were involved in a funding scandal in Minnesota, as well as Russia and Iran. Leavitt linked to a Fox News article that said other countries affected would include a number of countries with friendly relations with the United States, including Brazil, Egypt, and Thailand. Trump has made no secret of his desire to reduce immigration by people who were not of European descent. He has described Somalis as garbage who should go back to where they came from, and instead said it was open to Scandinavians moving to the United States. The State Department said Monday that it has revoked more than 100,000 visas since Trump's returned, a one-year record. The Department of Homeland Security last month said that the Trump administration has deported more than 605,000 people and that 2.5 million others left on their own. The latest move does not affect tourist, business, or other visas, including for soccer fans seeking to visit for this year's World Cup, although the Trump administration has vowed to vet all applicants' social media histories. The federal government and the Academic Staff Union of Universities ASUU have signed a new agreement aimed at improving the quality of the university education system and ensuring stability. The new agreement replaces the 2009 pact that triggered several industrial actions over unresolved issues. The signing and unveiling of the agreement took place on Wednesday at the Tertiary Education Trust Fund TET Fund Conference Hall in Maitama, Abuja. The ceremony was attended by several dignitaries, including the Minister of Education, Dr. Maruf Alausa, and the Minister of State for Education, Professor Suwaiba Ahmad. Speaking at the unveiling of the agreement, ASUU President Professor Chris Buwuna said that despite the union's history with the federal government, it remains optimistic that things will be different this time. He expressed hope that the union would not need to issue a strike threat before the federal government implements the agreement reached by both parties. Also speaking at the event, the Minister of Education Tunji Alausa described the new agreement with ASUU as a decisive turning point in the history of Nigeria's tertiary education system. The minister, in a television interview with Shehu Kimbaloye, also gave details of what went into the agreement. Take a listen.
I haven't answered your question. Let me answer. You're talking about sustainability. about if this agreement will be implemented. An agreement is useful. It's not the beauty of any agreement is not at the point of signing the agreement. It's at the implementing phases of those agreements. Before today, we've already started the implementation. The chairman of National Salary, Income and Wages Commission, the person of Mr. Inter, worked nights, several hours between December 29 and 30 to ensure that the circular to back up the various welfare components of the agreement was released. That circular has been released, and when we're negotiating the agreement, the president said, I will not give you the go-ahead to go and sign an agreement that I know I won't implement. As we went back and forth, the president, do I have the funding to do this? When the president was convinced that he had the funding, he signed off. Today, we have the funding to support the 40% salary increase that we've given our lecturers in all our tertiary institutions. We started with ASUU today. The enhanced and academic allowances, 9 of them in Hall, have been very structured, now well structured. The lecturers know, our academic staff know who is paying, they want the universities will pay, they want the federal government will pay via their personnel costs. And now, the president even went further and created a new category of allowance for our academic staff. It's called professorial cadre allowance, an enhanced additional allowance package.
This was never. This
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu came up with this idea.
Is it a research base or just
this allowance is for professor, okay, for professors alone.
As long as you're
full-time professor, professorial chair, as long as you're a professor or you're a reader, you'll get that additional pot of money.
Per annum or per session?
It's been bucketed per
into
annum,
the salary,
but you get it every month. And I can tell you, a professor will get almost over 140,000 naira top up every month. A reader will get about 70,000 top up additional every month. Never been created, never been done before.
Meanwhile, the Trade Union Congress TUC has backed the industrial action embarked upon by the joint health sector unions ASUU. ASUU, an affiliate of TUC, directed its members to continue their ongoing industrial action that started on November 15, 2025, despite the federal government's directive enforcing the no work, no pay policy. The decision followed an emergency virtual meeting of the union's national leadership held on Monday, January 12, after the expiration of a 72-hour extension of the strike. Reacting, the TUC knocked the federal government for allegedly trying to intimidate the protesting health workers without considering the economic realities. TUC rejected the circular issued by the Federal Ministry of Health and Social Welfare on the implementation of a no work, no pay policy and the stoppage of salaries of members of the joint health sector unions through the integrated payroll and personal information system effective January 2026. In a release statement on Wednesday, jointly signed by its President Festus Osifo and Secretary General N.A. Toro, the Congress described the directive as unacceptable and said it undermined ongoing negotiations between the government and health sector unions. The TUC said the action violated established industrial relations principles and accused the Ministry of acting unilaterally while negotiations were still ongoing. According to the Congress, the stoppage of salaries of ASUU members will worsen the hardship faced by health workers amid rising inflation, fuel price increases, and broader economic challenges. Dangote Refinery PLC has dismissed claims that its pricing arrangement favors MRS Oil and Nigerian PLC or undermines competition in the downstream petroleum market, insisting that all marketers purchase products at the same terms at the refinery gate. The newly appointed managing director of Dangote Refinery PLC, David Bird, stated this on Wednesday during a press briefing at the refinery complex in Lagos following concerns raised over the retail pump price of petrol reportedly sold by MRS at 739 naira per litre. Responding to questions on whether the pricing constituted market disruption or anti-competitive behavior, Bird said the refinery does not undermine retail prices and does not grant preferential treatment to any marketers. Bird explained that Nigeria's downstream market is fully deregulated, leaving marketers free to determine their pump prices based on their individual cost structures and strategies. He stressed that MRS does not receive any special pricing advantage, noting that its operations, including direct lifting and distribution, are commercial decisions tied largely to product quality and compliance. Addressing questions on domestic supply volumes, Bird said the refinery is currently producing about 50 million liters of fuel daily and is capable of meeting Nigeria's needs despite volatility in demand over recent years. However, Bird expressed optimism that stable pricing and the availability of affordable, high-quality fuel would restore growth in consumption. The refinery's MD also dismissed speculation about operational disruptions at the refinery, assuring stakeholders that output has remained steady. The Nigerian Immigration Service (NIS) has announced the rollout of an enhanced passport tracking feature. The update posted by the service on X on Thursday followed rising public clamor over delays in passport issuance and collection. According to the service, it had observed that hundreds of passports produced had remained uncollected, leading to increasing complaints from applicants. The feature is intended to give applicants clearer visibility on when their passports are ready for pickup or courier delivery, thereby reducing uncertainty around processing timelines. The development followed weeks of heightened criticisms from passport applicants, including prominent Nigerians who have taken to social media to express frustration with the process. Public outcry on X had seen users report delays stretching into several months, as well as allegations of deliberate bottlenecks within the system. However, the service said the new tracker status would help applicants distinguish between production delays and passports that are ready but yet to be retrieved. One of the most prominent complaints came from investigative journalist Fisayo Shuyombo, who shared his experience of waiting over 6 months for a passport renewal despite completing payment and biometric capture in July 2025. His post, which attracted over 1,400 likes and hundreds of reposts, criticized the immigration process and accused the Minister of Interior, Olubumi Tunji-Ojo, of failing to deliver prominent reforms. You are currently listening to the World News at 12 right here on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. We'll take a short break. When we return, we'll head into the news analysis segment. You're still on to the World News at 12 on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. Straight to our analysis segment, we have Darlington Agomwo, a legal practitioner and current affairs analyst, here to help analyze our news item. Barrister Darlington, thank you very much for joining us on the news at 12.
You are welcome, Solomon. How are you?
Very fine. Thanks for asking. Let's go to the main topic for discussion, which is the U.S. Yesterday suspended the processing of immigrant visas from 75 countries. Of course, that country includes Nigeria, which is Donald Trump's latest move against foreigners seeking to come to America. Yes. Well, you seem to be a Donald Trump friend, so you're definitely the right person to ask this question rather. U.S. is built by immigrants. U.S. is built by immigration. Besides the original American owners, the ones that they called red Americans, according to some people, for lack of a better word. U.S. is basically an immigration country. Admittedly, past presidents have opened the gates wide open for every Tom, Dick, and Harry to come into the U.S., which has given the United States an immigration headache. But is breaking and burning everything down the right way to go to stop immigration in the U.S.?
Solomon, don't compare apple and orange just because they are fruits. The original Red Indians that the Americans met when they came from Spain, from Britain, from everywhere, and settled in America, those ones are gone. Are you getting what I'm saying?
They are not.
Yes.
They're still there. But they're still
I
there.
said their culture, the culture they met is no longer current. And it is like that all over the world. People come in and settle in a place, and then from where they are going, the Americans you refer to, they want something that would be good for them. They wanted to build a country. Based on what? Rule of law. Based on what? Freedom. That is why they are the bastion of democracy in the whole world. The Red Indians, they don't have this thought in their mind. They were using bows and arrows to do things. But America came and modernized it. So the world has moved on. That reference is no longer tenable. In fact, the Red Indians have joined the current Americans, because what they are doing is beneficial to them and to the world. Having said that, Donald Trump made a promise during campaign, and he kept to it. What do you call integrity? It's for a man to say something and maintain what he said. That is integrity, not people that lie to you. Donald Trump said America first, and he's doing it. Americans have always wanted their president to be what? To tough, and do the American business. If you check, Jimmy Carter and Joe Biden lost election because they were very weak. It was because of Jimmy Carter that Ronald Reagan came, that the cowboy, and he started the Star War. So at every point in time, America wants their president to be tough. That is the only way they can sustain and retain their position in the whole world. And now Donald Trump came in and said this is what he's going to do, and he's doing it. Are you telling me now that because you want to eat me?
That's not exactly true. He said he will deport illegal Americans. But what he's been doing is that he's been deporting people that don't look white.
Oh, hold on. Look, Solomon, look, Donald Trump is doing a very good job. If other countries can copy,
deporting America, blacks, deporting Latinos, deporting Asians.
If they are not documented, what are they doing there? Answer me.
There have been situations where they mistakenly deported people that are Americans simply because they don't look
the institutions
white.
of America, the courts are there. The courts are there to address it. Yes, there must be collateral damage in some of these things. But the important thing is that 80 to 90% of America are in sync with what Donald Trump is doing.
Well, Donald Trump
Are
has
you
been
telling me
Donald Trump has been undermining the court. There have been several situations where the courts have ordered that these people be brought back to
the
America,
American,
and the White House have refused to adhere to those court orders.
the American institution is so strong. There's a limit to what Donald Trump can do. I hope you know that.
Well, he's been successfully weakening some of the institutions.
He will leave office. Hold on. No matter what he does, he will leave office one day. And all the wrongs will be corrected by another person. But what I'm saying is that presently, the way the world is structured with these terrorists, Donald Trump is not taking prisoners. You cannot tell me that because you want to eat meat, now you now call the goat brother. What is happening in Nigeria today? I am praying that we should have a Donald Trump here, seriously. With a Donald Trump in Nigeria, we cannot suffer this mess for 15 years now. What are you telling me?
Well, be careful what you wish for, because most of the things we'll be criticizing the APC government for is exactly what Donald Trump has been doing in the U.S.
It's a lie. The man is talking of America first. He's protecting his people through trade, through diplomacy. Donald Trump is protecting America. And that is the first thing, protection of your people. You swore to protect life and property. With the kind of person you have in Donald Trump, can any terrorist enter America and mess up?
Well,
Solomon, can any terrorist enter America?
That's the original reasons why a lot of those white supremacists and isolationists voted him for. But he's not exactly been living up to that, in the sense that the MAGA coalition has been fractured, with some of them saying he's supporting a lot of let's take Israel for example. The U.S. have spent billions of dollars supporting Israel's war with what was supposed to be Hamas, but has turned out to be Palestinians. He supported the Argentine government, helping their economy, and the Americans have been fighting him. The MAGA coalition have been fractured right now. That you said is going to be America first. Why are you spending a lot of this money on countries you like and not even the conventional American allies?
Look, Donald Trump cannot give you anything without nothing. The people that are against him, they are not looking at the big picture. There is something Donald Trump is looking for from his allies. And that is what we call international diplomacy. Donald Trump is not a greenhorn in these things. He needed allies to champion the cause of America. So the people ganging up against him is for their own selfish interest. People like Elon Musk and all that, he fell out with him because Elon Musk does not fit into what Donald Trump will have in mind. And that is the way to go. The question is Donald Trump doing the business of America? The answer is yes. Nobody can deny him that fact. You can't touch any American anywhere in the world today, and you do not see Donald Trump there. Is that not the first thing? So the people that are ganging up against is political. It's done all over the world. The question is, what is that primary thing? Is he doing it very well? The answer is yes. The answer is yes.
Well,
so all the people.
Nigeria is one of the countries affected in this visa suspension. What do you think this
means?
Look,
as far as I'm concerned, Solomon, listen. You have traveled enough. Your economy is dependent on foreign countries. Why can't Donald Trump close their door against Nigerians entirely? They should declare every Nigerian persona non grata in the U.S., including the children of the politicians who are schooling there. All of them should come back. How many Americans come here? Do you know how much of Nigerian money is in America? Do you know how much? One of them who was in an NPC was paying $5 million to one of the best, most expensive school in Switzerland. Is it not Nigerian money?
Well, it's a different thing if the visa ban is on prominent Nigerians on politicians.
They can go through proxy.
But what about the original ordinary Nigerians?
Let all of them come back. Let all of them should come back. Let us build Nigeria. Nigeria should be like you. Let all of them should come back. whether private or civil servant, and all of them should come back. That money they should spend it here, so that our schools will be top notch, so that our school will be like those ones that are attending in America. What is wrong with that? How many Americans are schooling here, for God's sake? No, tell me, how many Americans are schooling here? In fact, if I have the power here, I will ban everybody for going to go and study there. What are you going to learn there that you cannot bring here, for God's sake? What are you going to study in this age of technology that you cannot bring here and domesticate it? What is that thing? Everybody want to go to America, you want to go to UK, you want to go for what? Do you know how much we are spending in this country building the economy? Building the economy. Is that not an embarrassment? How long will it continue? So you should ban them. I support that one 100%. All of them, not just civil servant or politician, every one of them, because it is our money. Every politician or civil servant that goes there, they are there with our taxpayers' money. It's not their salary. Their salary cannot take them there. It is our money, stolen money.
Okay.
Stolen money.
Now, in our next news item, the federal government and the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASUU, have signed a new agreement aimed at improving the quality of education, tertiary education, specifically in Nigeria, and ensuring stability. Do you think this will make any difference, considering ASUU and federal government have had agreement after agreement, agreement after agreement, and each of those times the federal government still, what's the word now, still defaults on those agreements, and which has led to several strike from academic, from ASUU. Is there this new agreement, is there any optimism about it?
It is going to work. Solomon, it is going to work. For the days or the remaining days of Tinubu in office, he will implement that agreement because it favors him.
How so?
Didn't you hear one of the agreements? Professorial academic allowance. Specifically for professors. Those people that give him returns during the election, is it not professors, academic professors? Are they not the one that usually announce all these results, electoral results? That is where he's going. That's why he specifically gave them preference. He's going to use them during the next election. So I am very, very sure he will implement it. In fact, he dare not disappoint them. He dare not. He will implement it. Have you not noticed that all the institutions that will help in the election, they are being given largesse? Wike is in Abuja building houses and giving them a 300% salary increase. Are you not aware? So all the institutions that will help him, he is laying the groundwork for them to do their job in 2027. So this one will work. Because of what I just told you now, it will work.
Yeah, but
that is suitable for you.
The 2009 agreement also had some largesse for professors, which the federal government
leave that one. This one was not included. This one, did you see that they have raised it? They have raised it now. They have raised it now, and he said he cannot sign any agreement. He cannot implement. Why specifically for professors? Why specifically for them?
In other words, you think this agreement has a political undertone?
Have I not told you here? Other sectors, they can afford foreign medical trip, so they don't bother with the health and all the, If you cannot afford the medical care in Nigeria, you can die. They can go anywhere and get their own. After all, Tinubu has been out of the radar for how many days now? Did anybody ask where he went to? They just go out and spend our money on their own health without thinking of Nigeria own. You can imagine. Anyway, I will only warn those professors, because when they will cry foul, I will tell them, because this government, they like using you and dumping you. If you are doubting me, go and ask Wike. Wike is licking his wounds now in River State. That professor that gave Akpabio victory, he is languishing in jail now, and Akpabio is in the Senate enjoying early morning tea and breakfast, chasing Nasata all over the place. So they should learn their lesson. They said they are professors, but rascally politicians are using them like rag. They should be very careful. Because what they did to that professor, they will do it to them too. Yes, it will happen. They like using and dumping. So as they are collecting this money, they should do this work. Knowing fully well Donald Trump is watching. Oh. Donald Trump, the big brother of the whole world, is watching them. Oh. If they mess up, I will write their name and give Donald Trump. He will come and pick all of them one by one here, since they don't want to hear.
And the next news item, Dangote refinery has dismissed claims that its pricing arrangement favors MRS Oil Nigerian PLC or undermines competition in the downstream petroleum market, insisting that all marketers purchase products on the same terms as the refinery. This was according to the new appointed MD, David Bird. During the press briefing here, he was talking about concerns raised over the retail pump price of petrol, reportedly sold by MRS at 739 naira per liter. What do you think about that story?
Look, this industry has been deregulated now. It is a free market economy. Why are they disturbing this Dangote? It is the man to stop you from doing whatever you want to do. Why are they always on Dangote's case? I have said it here that the greatest mistake any government or anybody can do is for a regulator to be a player in the same industry. Solomon, since networks, or rather, since the communication industry, NITEL, since NITEL was deregulated, are you hearing any noise from that place? The three companies that came up, MTN, Airtel, and the Glo, did you hear all this noise you are seeing in the petroleum industry? That is how it should be. But as long as this NNPC is still have a hand in this oil business, and then some people in government still have this oil and all that, have a hand in the importation and the sale of, this thing will continue. Why can't they make it free? If you import whatever you sell, as long as the regulator is strictly doing regulatory work. That is all. Every day, Dangote, MRS, this one, you know. Why is this so? Because the people that are supposed to regulate are also involved in the business. So they are trying to protect their interests.
You're talking about the NNPC. You're talking about NNPC.
Not only him, there are some hands pulling the strings from behind the closed door. Some people are pulling the strings from behind the closed door. You know those people who are involved in the oil industry.
I mean, they've been popularly called the oil and gas cabal.
Yeah, that was Owando bought an NPC through OVH. What does that tell you? Please, what does that tell you? Who is now the NNPC you are hearing? Who? No, who is the NNPC you are hearing? You can see the trickish thing they are doing here, but Nigerians are not aware. Look at the trickish where they bought one small company, bought NNPC, then they now bought the company. That means they now own whatever that company owns. Look at the indirect way they use to deceive Nigerians. And it has to be Owando. Go and check the assets of one another before they bought that company. How can a small company swallow a whole NNPC? Can you? Nigeria never asked any question. They never asked because they don't want to ask. So who is behind Owando? Did you hear their profit last year? As if they are the only oil company in Nigeria. It's unfortunate.
Indeed, Barrister Darlington, thank you very much for talking to us. It's always a pleasure talking to you.
My pleasure too.
Thank you. That was Darlington Agomwa, legal practitioner, current affairs analyst, of course, in-house analyst, right here on Voice of the People, 90.3 FM. for a quick look at what's happening outside Nigeria. Uganda is on edge as polls have opened, with President Yoweri Museveni expected to extend his 4-decade rule amid a police crackdown on the opposition, fears of violence, and an internet shutdown. The East African nation is holding a contentious general election on Thursday after a Ugandan government regulatory body instructed mobile network operators to block public internet access starting on Tuesday evening. Polling stations were slow to open and delays were reported, but voting was underway shortly after 7 a.m. in at least one Kampala suburb. There were heavy police and army patrols in the border town in Jinja. Partial results are expected later in the day after polls close. Uganda's opposition condemned the government for what it said were widespread voting delays. Impatient crowds gathered outside polling stations expressing concerns over the delays. More than 21.6 million voters have registered for the election. In a country where 70% of people are under age 35, high unemployment is a key issue for the first-time voters. The government of 81-year-old Museveni has been accused of overseeing a years-long crackdown on its critics, arresting political opposition leaders and their supporters. Museveni is being challenged in Thursday's vote by pop star turned politician Bobby Wine, whose campaign rallies have been routinely disrupted by the Ugandan authorities. And out to sports news, goalkeeper Yassine Bouno was the hero with 2 saves in the shootout as host Morocco beats Nigeria 4-1 penalties to set up an Africa Cup of Nations AFCON final showdown this weekend with Senegal after a tense last 4 clash. On Wednesday finished 0-0 at the end of extra time. Bono saved from Samuel Chukwueze and brilliantly from Bruno Onyemachi, allowing Youssef and Yesri to convert the winning kick and spark wild celebrations inside the Prince Moulay Abdallah Stadium in Rabat. There was joy but also relief for Hamza Igamane, who had appeared distraught after his kick was saved by Nigeria goalkeeper Stanley Wabali. He was the only Moroccan player who failed to score in the shootout. However, with captain and talisman Ashraf Hakimi among those who converted their penalties, Morocco will now play Senegal on Sunday after the Lions of Teranga defeated Mohamed Salah's Egypt 1-0 in the other semi-final earlier thanks to Sadio Mane goal. That will be a clash between top 2 African sides in the FIFA World Rankings in a fitting showpiece for the tournament. Walid Regragui's Morocco has been under enormous pressure to deliver a first AFCON title for their country in half a century, but will be confident of coming out on top with their support behind them at the Prince Moulay Abdallah Stadium. But as their dream remains alive, it is an agonizing way for Nigeria's hopes to end 2 years they lost at the final to the host in Ivory Coast. Still in our sports news, more than 2 months after the House of Representatives resolved to probe the use of financial grants granted and advanced to the Nigerian Football Federation (NFF) for the development of football in the country, the House Committee on Sport has yet to submit report on its findings. In October 2025, the House resolved to investigate financial grant to the nation's footballing governing body, totaling $25 million from 2015 to 2025. The resolution followed the adoption of a motion of urgent public importance at a plenary last year, co-sponsored by a Lagos lawmaker, Adebayo Adeshola, and his River State counterpart, Felix Nweke. A to be recorded a few months ago, ex-Super Eagles captain Sunday Olise accused the NFF of stifling the growth of football in Nigeria through the misappropriation of grants from the Federation of International Football, FIFA, and the Confederation of African Football, CAF, citing the questionable handling of $1 million the NFF received from FIFA to prepare the Super Eagles for the 2002 World Cup. Between 2015 and 2025, the NFF allegedly received development funds in excess of $25 million from FIFA and CAF, with no proportional investment to justify the huge amount of money. In October 28, 2025, the House, rather than constituting an ad hoc committee to probe the allegations as requested in the motion, resolved to commit the prayers to the Committee on Sport for recommendations to the House for further legislative actions. The committee, which had 4 weeks to submit its report, failed to do so before the House adjourned for Christmas and New Year break in December 2025. And that's the news. But before we go, here again are our top stories. A U.S. suspends immigrant visa processing for Nigeria and 74 other countries. We also brought the story that federal government signs and unveils new agreement with ASUU. Dangote refinery rejects anti-competition claims, says no preferential treatment for MRS. And NIS updates passport tracking system amid public outcry over delay. On the international scene, pools open in Uganda amid crackdown and fears of violence and internet blackout. And in sports, Morocco beat gallant Super Eagles on penalties to reach AFCON 2025 finals. And that's the world news at 12 on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. I am Solomon Ofem. Do follow our social media handles at VOP903FM. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at VOP903FM. Good afternoon and thank you for listening.